It's episode 17 of Whole Lot of Wolves, season 6. I'm Joshua Buckley, alongside co-host Paul LePage.
Hello.
Danny on the socials in Baltimore.
Hi.
And joining us from chilly Minnesota, it's Todd DeWitt.
Howdy, y'all.
See, we were briefly talking about this. This kind of shows how big North America is. Me and Paul were in Texas, near the bottom. Todd's up near the top in Minnesota. Todd, you said it was 5 degrees there this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Cold.
was chilly here in Texas, too. It was 47. So, 42 degree difference for those that think America's a tiny little country. Guys, I've started drinking again. You know, I'm off the painkillers, which is probably good because it helped me get through that slog of a 1-0 loss to Villa. Although there were some positives. We'll get to it. Paul, we finally got to see Rob Edwards coming off of an international break lineup. Unfortunately, Wolves were missing probably their best player this season with Krejci out.
Yeah, I think that was a blow based on leadership as well, just as much of anything. Certainly for the back line, potentially a goal threat as well, one of the bigger players from corners and that side of things too. So disappointed for him to miss out, but then we're just kicking around before the show. At least we have got some genuine cover in the centre-back berth right now. So I suppose that was something to be somewhat thankful for, that we weren't down to the bare bones.
Bellegarde came in to start. He was up top with Arias and JSL. What did you think going into that match about that front line, Todd?
I was pretty excited. I was very excited not to see Manetzi, just to see something different. I think Manetzi for all he's done, but we all kind of get it by now. Like he works hard, he runs, but I just wanted to see a little bit more dynamics up front there, and I thought Bellegarde really came through with that. He was everywhere. Really appreciated that fight and just the wherewithal to look for those passes.
Yeah, there was definitely one guy who was doing a fantastic job and another one who was doing not so much. Danny, let's talk about Bellegarde, because to me, when I watched that match on Sunday, I said, Bellegarde is going to play a big role in this team next year to try and get it up to the Premier League again. Is that kind of how you would feel as well?
We don't need to bring that into it at this point. He's going to play a big role in this team this year. I don't know if it'll amount to anything, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely, our most reliable creative force, which I'm sure many people will see as a sign of our decline over the years. And just the way that we've set things up over the summer, through the conspirings of Jeff Shee and Domenico Teddy to replace Cunha with Arias and Bellegarde, who, if you could combine their abilities, might actually kind of be like Cunha, but unfortunately now you have to have two of them on the field at the same time to accomplish what one person could do before. Yeah. But yeah, he was great. Well, maybe great is a strong word, but he was great for us.
By our standards this year.
In the context of our season, he was great. Probably one of the best performances by a Wolves player so far this season, which, probably not quite enough. But yeah, I mean, it's like we saw him play against Villa last year, where he sort of ran the show creatively. And it just shows that we probably need him on the field at basically every game.
Todd, another person I felt like had a good match was Chichua, and he nearly had a beautiful assist. JSL knocked it in. Great goal. Looks like Wolves are up 1-0. Oh, but John Arias, wrong place, wrong time, just in the way. What is going on? Is there a spot for John Arias right now in this squad?
No. Oh gosh. I think on the bench. I think just as another set of legs that can come on, but not in our starting 11. I think we all had really high hopes for him. We saw what he could do with the Club World Cup and of all the highlight reels, but woof, he just is not cutting the mustard. He's not good. I mean, it's just so frustrating because here we brought him in on hope and promise, and all that hope and promises amounted to not a whole lot.
I think it was for him though. It was right place, wrong time though, because they've been absolutely crying out for that dynamism in the box for a particular chance like that. So he should have been going in exactly the right direction that he was going, but he just should have continued his run and been out of Martinez's sight line and it'd been a goal.
What did you think of Chichua in this match, Paul? It looked like he was able to use his speed a little bit more to track down some deep balls. And then, I mean, that was a great pass to JSL as well.
Yeah, that one was good. I think he put a ball in as well in the first half for the one where he got across Konza, forced to save off of Martinez as well. So there were some signs from him, but I still got there's two issues. I think there's still a distrust to actually give him more opportunities, and there's definitely a reluctance for him to have the ball when there's a chance that he could be put under pressure. But I think, like, as a body of work, that game yesterday, and you could probably get a tactico to go into more detail about the X's and O's of his precise performance, but I didn't think he did that bad, especially away from home against a good team like Villa. It didn't seem like we were torn apart really down either flank. So maybe there's some signs of positives as far as he goes.
Danny, what was more responsible for the loss? Was it Wolves being crap? Was it Martinez in goal because he had some great saves? Or just some Wolvesy bad luck?
It has to be all three. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was, look, we don't have to pretend that that performance is good enough for every game of the season, but we can also say that it was probably our best, most complete performance over 90 minutes that we've seen this season. So, more of that, please, in the sense that, there was a plan. The players were playing together, probably, played reasonably well for 90 minutes. And the fact that it came down to, a very good shot on a weak foot on their end. And, some very marginal saves from Emi Martinez on the other end means that it could have gone either way. And I think like a win against Villa, especially in the run that they've been having, would have been seen as like a big swing in terms of vibes. And so, the fact that it was so marginal, I think we can take a certain amount of comfort from that, as long as it's continued, because that's been the big problem is consistency. But yeah, there's plenty of bad luck to go around. There's certainly plenty of crap to go around. But, for the most part, a solid performance over 90 minutes.
And Paul, Wolves again nearly had the lead with a nice Mosquera header. Martinez just barely tipped it, hit the crossbar. Overall, do you feel like Wolves were the better squad in the first half?
I think over the balance of play, eventually, in the quality of chances that we created. I know Johnson was put to some work, but it wasn't like he was pulling out those worldly saves like Martinez did. And if you were able to go into that game at that point, going at the half 1-0 up as the away team in a derby, strange things could happen. And that's one thing I really want us to see, just to see if there is any life in this team, is to take a lead and see what they can actually do with it.
Rob Edwards said that the team needs to take more risks. One of those, do you feel like, Todd, was João Gomez just being a little bit afraid to really power a shot in?
Yeah, I mean, you saw where Villa's goal came from. It came from outside the box. They were taking those shots, which I was more than happy to let them take those shots from outside the box all game. But yeah, we really tried to work it in and take those easy shots. I just want to see him. We know he has it in him. His first goal came from pretty far. Um, I want to see him take more of those shots, be a little bit more adventurous, be a little bit more risk taking. Yes, we know you're great at getting the ball off people and protecting, but let's see a little bit more from you. If you think you can take a step on someone, take a shot off, take a shot off. Goals aren't coming from anywhere else right now, so why not?
And even though he had a good game, Danny, Bellegarde kind of did the same thing. Looked like he had a nice little breakaway. Instead of just shooting it, he elected to pass it to JSL, and it was knocked away before JSL could get there. What were your thoughts on that play?
Yeah, I have to admit that I prefer for him to just shoot there. I mean, in so many ways it was probably the right choice, but yeah, I want them to probably, as Rob Edwards said, take a little more risk, but also just, I hate to bring out the old phrase "want it more," but when you can tell that players just like they want to be the person. We've had a shortage of players who like want the ball, who demand the ball at their feet. By the same token, I want players who like absolutely back themselves to take that shot. And especially when you have a bit of space like he did, I mean, just blast it, man. Like he can only parry so many away, luckily. So like eventually one of those has got to go in. So yeah, just in terms of like, I guess to Rob Edwards' point, attitudinally, I just rather like, us be going for those. Now the larger problem is that we just still don't create enough of those chances. If we had, two times the number of chances like that, we're definitely scoring on that day. And that's the bigger hurdle for the games to come is can you create those moments, but throughout the game and more consistently.
Did you say attitudinally?
Attitudinally? That's a word. I'll go to Merriam-Webster's right now if you want me to. Attitudinally is a word.
I'm impressed.
Thank me when you do your crosswords later tonight.
Yeah,
expanding. Could be good points on Scrabble.
Mm.
More points than the Wolves have got.
We got more points than Paul. The loss came with Kamara just had a beautiful shot. I mean, just no way to stop it either, at least from Johnston's point of view. Do you feel like, though, that goal should have stood because there was a foul on Zhao in the buildup, or did you feel like probably too soft and right to make the no call?
But based on what went on throughout the whole of the game, that was a foul that the ref was constantly giving, which probably pissed me off even more. That in the balance of play, those tend to get let go and waved on. If that was any type of consistency from the referee throughout, then you'd probably be okay with it. But wasn't there one just really similar with when Mola Wolf got booked for pulling back Matty Cash? Matty Cash was away, got dragged back, came round to claim the foul, ref blew up, and he got a booking. Like exactly the same happened with Joe Gomez, and it just got brushed off. Let the game carry on, and even not really giving any type of magnifying glass to try and overrule it from VAR.
So at that point, Wolves chasing the game, and the first sub, Todd, was Bellegarde coming off for Chirera. What did you think about that?
I didn't like it at the time. I thought he was. I like Chirera coming on, but I wish it was going to be for Arias, just to see what a new pairing would look like. I thought Bellegarde was having a good game up until that point, and I thought we kind of lost a little bit of attacking momentum when he came off. I like Rob Edwards. I think he's still trying to figure out what his best combos on the field are, but I think he might have gotten just a little bit wrong with that one.
I just think he was blown out of his arse. He'd put the most effort in we've heard stuff about the team apparently not being fit enough. I think Bellegarde's consistently been one of those players that has always struggled to get through 90 minutes as well. And I think the damning indictment is not down to Edwards on this one. It's down to him looking behind him, thinking, how can I change a game? How can I chase a goal against a good team? And looking at, well, who am I going to bring on? Torreira, Menezzi, Wang. You know, the goals just aren't jumping out, are they? So at least he was trying to keep a shape of what was potentially still working, and it's just a damning indictment of how that squad's been put together. That's the only options he's got to call on.
It's death by exile, right, Todd? For the Batman fans. Yeah. Rough to watch. Huang, did you want to see Huang? I think you're a Huang supporter, right?
Definitely not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see Wang come to Minnesota United. I think he would crush in MLS, and I think we have a marketing arm here for South Koreans that I think Wayne would do a great job. But I don't think Wolves is his level anymore, unfortunately. I do like the guy, though. He's so nice. He's so nice.
We've had a lot of nice guys.
I'll defend him.
Here we go.
I had gochujang chicken for dinner. Yeah, I don't know. Just the perplexing thing to me is Torreira, who really didn't offer much, except that I think he committed like 3 fouls in the time he was on the pitch. Most of them were kind of unnecessary. And I just, again, I'm still waiting for someone again to play Huang where he's supposed to be played. And I know that there is a problem with that. You know, we keep saying he needs to be played in the width of the goal box. He needs to be much closer to the goal, or at least much closer to the striker. And there's a problem with that. We don't have anybody linking midfield to the forward. So someone who comes in needs to do that. But I have a hard time seeing how Torreira was the answer in that case. I thought that Matheus Mane contributed, you know, reasonably well for a youngster. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not Rob Edwards, and I can't say the reasoning, but it is certainly, like Paul said, an indictment of our recruitment that both Huang and Menezzi were unused subs in that game, especially Huang, who's, you know, now had how many Premier League games under his belt, and Rob Edwards is bringing on Torreira and Mane instead of him. So yeah, it's not great any way you slice it, but I think I'd still prefer, if we're chasing a game, to just try to slide through Huang as much as possible.
Paul, do you think we're going to see Mane a lot more here in the last part of the season?
I think he's going to get minutes. I think he's going to be given some opportunities just to find out, you know, where his fit is. You talk about opportunities for next season, you'd probably be thinking, if he's that highly regarded, he's probably looking at a championship low next season. So could it be a good test bed for him to see how he does in the Prem ahead of what happens next season?
Overall, did you feel like, Paul, you took more positives from this match than negatives, other than the result?
Kinda. I think solidity at the back, you know, what helps there is consistent formation. At least we know how he's going to set up. I was much more agreeable to that formation as well, in that it was definitely a more distinct 5-2-3 rather than last week, and really having to play around with the international break and minutes and everything. It's tricky. I think you've hosted a good team who play well on the road with Palace last week. You've gone to another team in the top half of the league who are on a good run. In this one, that has been a pretty tough start. Now, whether that changes this week or not, I think that's the true test of anything even remotely to be getting excited about in terms of salvaging a season.
How about you, Todd?
Oh,
Positives?
way more way more positives than negatives. I think you could just see in the players, they were up for it. They look like they had something to prove. I mean, JSL ran back, made a tackle, and immediately jumped up, gave a fist bump, or just celebrated that tackle. And it was nice to know that the players still care, that they're still fighting for the club, that they're still fighting for the badge, that they want this not just for the wins, but that this club means something to them. And that's what I really took away from this match, that they really care still.
Danny?
Yeah, definitely way more positives. It's not a positive season, at least not so far. But you can't look at that game as anything but the best, most complete performance that we've seen, as I said before. Lots of things to build on too. Like once we're actually starting to create things, you can start to see the avenues that we might create things further in the future. So, I mean, that was the frustrating thing about Pereira's time, was that it just seemed to be getting worse every single week. Like, if we had 3 shots on target one week, the next week we'd have only 1. So, it just couldn't go on like that. And so at least now we are, seeming to be a bit more solid defensively, seeming to be able to create things here and there. And if that can continue to build, then that's a good thing. And like I said before we, hit record, always a bright spot to have Yerson Mosquera back in the lineup, doing all the nonsense that he does to various players, like sprint out from a cleared corner, I think, and then just like shoulder barge the defender who's trying to trap the ball with no hope of getting the ball, and immediately just give them a free kick again. But if we're not getting wins, at least we can get the entertainment off of Yerson.
Danny, what happens first? Yerson gets a red card or Wolves score a goal?
No, it's got to be Wolves score a goal. I mean, the red card is just like flipping a coin every game. So, I mean, who knows? But surely we can trick some team into scoring an own goal before he gets a red card. I hope.
Todd, you didn't look so sure.
If you could simultaneously get a goal and a red card at the same time, that's what I put my money on. He's a wild card, and I never really know what I'm going to get with him, and I love it, but I'm also terrified. Like, man, all those little things, like, he doesn't need to push over everyone he runs into, but I like that he does. But one of these times, he's just going to put... But I appreciate it. It's entertaining. Like, if we're not going to win games, let's at least be entertaining.
Well, hopefully they'll be entertaining this week, because we have a double match week. The first game is Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern time. That is also 2:30 in Fort Lauderdale. Take note, Wolves. 2:30 Fort Lauderdale. 1:30 Central time.
God.
Against Nottingham Forest. And then next Monday, a week from today, they're playing our good friend, Matheus Cunha, in Manchester United. That game is at 3 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Fort Lauderdale, and 2 p.m. Central. Todd, Paul, let's talk about Nottingham Forest first. They've also been kind of struggling throughout the year. You're on mute.
They've run into some similar difficulties, but not to the extent of ours. Plus, they had added distractions of European competition as well. So, crazy ownership like ours, but totally different in other ways. And our good friend Morgan Gibbs White as well. So we'll see what happens with that.
Danny, that's a good point. So, which type of crazy owner do you think is better? Nottingham Forest, where they spend the money, but he's all over the place, or Fosun, not necessarily all over the place, but they don't spend shit?
God, I don't know. I guess if I had to really choose, it's going to be a kind of grass is greener situation, where I think like it feels like I'd almost rather have a weird loose cannon individual who might go crazy, and like he's not going to make himself go broke. But you know what I mean? Like, to spend himself into the poorhouse supporting this team because he's insane versus like a person who is so, corporate pilled that they can't think of anything but the balance sheet for every possible expenditure, including paint for the stanchions or whatever. It's just like neither of them has any good sense. But I'd rather the person who is insane in the direction of maybe they'll just go crazy and spend some money, as opposed to how can we take money out of the academy in order to cut costs. So yeah, I guess I'd go for theirs, but I don't like either option.
I'm with Danny on that one for sure. Todd, this has become a bit of a rivalry in the last few seasons, but a lot of that kind of stemmed from Neto and Cunha. So is there still going to be that extra juice in this matchup?
Yeah, I think Morgan Gibbs White's going to be on the pitch most likely, and I think that'll provide enough drama, juice, whatever you want between the fans and him that the players will feel that and play up to it. It's not a derby, but there is, because Morgan Gibbs White's just such an asshole sometimes, that it'll feel like a big game. It'll feel like there's more on the line than just the W. There's bragging rights. There's shutting him up so he doesn't do that dumb celebration.
Finger in the ears.
He did come off injured in their previous game in the last 10 minutes. But no one's heard anything whether he'll be playing. So we'll just have to find out.
Paul, do you imagine any kind of surprising lineup changes at all?
No, not for this one. I think the back-to-back nature of the games might actually suit us a little. That he's kind of got to go back to basics in that, stick to that same formation, those key players in their key positions, and run it back again. Hopefully, some positives that they can generate from being the home team show up on Wednesday. Like that chance at Mosquera, at least there was some threat from set pieces. At least we've got that, like at the attacking aerial threat that hopefully they can draw on a little. So I think some of those types of things are starting to reveal themselves as well. So I think it's going to be pretty similar. Really hope he keeps the shape and tries to get at him a bit.
So what about predictions? Let's look at it. Last week, everybody got a point except for Paul. His positivity is being crushed 1 point at a time. I'm in the lead, 13 points, followed by Danny with 9. Paul and Alex tied with 6 points, and the guest spot has 5. So Todd, a little bit of work to do, although you have one of those 5 points from calling a Everton win earlier this season. What do you think about this Forest match?
I don't know what to think. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I don't think it'll be a very entertaining 1-1 draw, whether it's drama on the pitch with Mosquera and Morgan Gibbs White going at each other, or just the nature how the goals are scored. I think it'll be fun. I don't know. I'm kind of optimistic about this, and by saying optimistic, I mean a draw. I mean, we lost this last week 1-0. Before that, it was 2-0. So I think it's just law of averages, math, 1-1.
Well, technically, if we're going math, it would be nil, but
Nope, we're scoring. We're scoring a goal.
Who's scoring it?
JSO.
JSO. Okay. Danny, what are you looking at?
Are you ready for this?
Uh-oh.
I believe Chris Wood is out. It's very likely that Morgan Gibbs White is out, and we're at home. I think Wolves win 2-1.
2-1. All right.
I can't believe that we will keep a clean sheet, but a win maybe.
Wow. Okay, Paul.
I'm putting a distinct caveat on this that I have to give this result based on the outro. So I am going Wolves 1, Notts Forest 0.
Ooh, 2 wins. I will also go by math, but unlike Todd, I will go 0-0 for my math. I expect a super exciting Wednesday afternoon matchup that makes me want to stab my eyes out again. So 0-0. Then next Monday, we got a big one with Matheus Cunha coming into town. Todd, I know you weren't the biggest Cunha guy. Do you wish he was back, though?
Yeah, absolutely. I wish we had his goals back. I don't wish we had his attitude, but yeah.
Well, the attitude comes with him. So do you wish he and every bit of him was back?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Counterpoint, not that I really need to convince Todd, but counterpoint, how much do you want Cunha back in this team? He was already throwing a fit last season when we actually had okay players around him, and he felt like he was carrying the whole team. That's just me presuming about his personality. How much is he going to feel like he's the only person that matters on the pitch now if he was back with us? He'd be taking training at Carrington while playing for us or something. He would be like halfway out the door the whole season.
Yeah, but he'd still probably be scoring goals. And we sort of need goals right now.
So Danny, you don't feel like things would have been different at all then had Cunha stayed?
They'd be better. Or they'd be different. He'd score goals. I can't tell you if that translates to wins. We've conceded a lot of insane goals that I'm sure he's not helping us defend. So, like, do we have another couple of points because there were some draws in there? Sure. But, like, do you think if Cunha is here, we're not bottom of the table? I think that is a hard thing to believe for me.
What do you think, Paul?
Based on that, I think we might not be bottom of the table, but we're still in a relegation scrap. So,
okay, so if all the other results, I mean, I guess it depends because like the two above us right now are Burnley and Leeds, but Burnley are on 10 points. Do we make up those 8 points with Cunha? And again, I know like 3 of Burnley's points came from us. So
yeah, see, so that would be what I'd come back with. I mean, right there. 7 versus 5. So then you're only needing, one more win out of there. Yeah, I think we'd be a solid 19th place with Cunha.
Maybe.
Paul, what will be the reaction to Matheus Cunha on Monday?
I think fitness levels first is whether he'll play. I'm not sure what his status is.
Is he going to play, Danny? What do you think?
I think so. And this is mostly just for me following things for Fantasy Premier League. I think he just posted on his Instagram that he is back, according to his stories. And everybody's excited that he will play in the midweek game. But that likely means starting on the bench. So by Monday, I imagine he's starting for them with the other absences that they have.
I think he'll get pelters. And maybe that's something that we need, the crowd needs to actually get some life into place and get an enemy. But you've always got that fear of it turns the volume up and the animosity, but comes back to bite on the ass.
If I could, counsel the fans at Molineux, which I know I can't, I would say don't boo him when he has the ball. That means he's going to shoot from 30 yards out and score. But if you laugh at him when he misses a shot, which he does pretty frequently, he also takes a lot of shots and scores them occasionally. But if you laugh at him when he falls on the floor after missing a shot or like throws his arms around, I think that gets to him way more than the booing would.
How do you think the players are going to respond to it, Todd?
I think they'll be professional. I mean, they'll want to win, obviously, but I don't think there'll be any necessarily animosity, at least as much as there will be with the fans.
Definitely not from our midfield.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he did win the player of the season.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be a fun game.
Yeah. All right, so let's hear your prediction on it.
Oh gosh. Well, here's a question: who gets sent off first, him or Mascara?
Both at the same time.
Yeah, both at the same
both at the same
instant. I would
time.
take that all day.
Oh yeah, box office. I'm gonna say a 2-1 loss.
2-1 loss. Okay.
Yeah.
Danny?
Mateus Cunha 1, Wolves 0.
Oh.
Oh.
Paul?
I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Paul with the positivity again this week. I like it. I'm gonna say Wolves finally score a goal, but Mateus Cunha has a brace. He seems like somebody that, I mean, we've seen it. Big games, he has come through. The worst is gonna be, does he do the? And if he does he get out of that stadium alive? I don't know. So I say 2-1 Man U.
It's no stupid questions time. The time of the show where you, the listener, can ask us anything about this wonderful football club that is Wolverhampton Wanderers. You can email those questions to hello@wholelotofwolves.com. Reach us on X at WLWpod, or if you're watching right now in the live stream, you can throw your question on into the chat. First up off of X, we have Drew Freakin, who asks, in Victor's doghouse, who would have made the biggest impact on this team this year? And he lists Lamina, but says maybe a reach since he was hated everyone by the end. Carlos Forbes or Tommy Doyle. Todd, who's your player out of that would salvage this team?
Tommy Doyle. I think he would just add a little bit more in our midfield that we don't currently have. Maybe drag us up the pitch a little bit. Maybe help connect the front line a little bit more. Yeah, I think it would be Tommy Doyle.
I'm going to say, have you guys seen? Forbes has been putting up some pretty good numbers. And he got the Portugal call up. I mean, 2 goals and 2 assists in 5 Champions League games. I know the Belgian league. I know, way different quality, but he does have 6 goal contributions. So I would be interested to see him and Rob Edwards, but also he didn't do squat for us. So I do kind of like Tommy Doyle shout out.
I think to Todd's point, you still need to get the ball to Forbes, and that's what we struggle with. So I don't disagree necessarily on principle, but yeah, I feel like for me it has to be Tommy Doyle, but it still doesn't feel like the right fit. Like, if I could have made the decision, would I prefer him to be here or not be here? Definitely to be here. Like, he's a good player who would get minutes in this team, if not starts. But I still think he doesn't really solve the problems that we're having, which are a bit more widespread than just one Tommy Doyle can fix.
He'll be another key guy next year in the championship for us.
Yeah, as long as Blues don't go up or down.
Next, also off X, we've got Brian Donnelly, and Brian asks, do we trust that we can actually identify good players to go and get in January? I looked at the main guys that we missed out on in the summer, Uche, Gesand, Deal, Pubil, and they have a combined 877 minutes with 1 goal, 0 assists between them. Contrast that to Menetzi with 869 minutes with 1 goal and 1 assist. So Brian asked twofold. Have you got that trust to get those players? Were there any gems that were identified that we actually missed out on?
See, I feel like Jeff Shee would point at this and go, see, this is why we didn't spend the money, because we knew they weren't going to be good, and this is why I thought it was a good window. No, I don't trust him. I'm surprised by Gassen's go right now. He's lacking minutes and everything. But yeah, I mean, not only identifying, but then when we do find a guy to actually pay the money, I don't know. Especially with January prices, I don't trust it. I think it's a great question by Brian.
I mean, that's the difference right there. Is that, I mean, like, I haven't quite paid as much attention to Uche, but like he seems to have struggled at Palace, and then Gasson didn't even come on for Villa, and he's had limited minutes, like Brian's saying there. And Gasson, I mean, I might be mixing up the timeline here, but like he was an option, alongside Arias. So we're talking about a person that we were thinking of to come in and start. And, it seems silly to compare ourselves to Villa the way that they're doing this season, but like, a player who doesn't even come off of Villa's bench, and it's just like, it backs up what we've been saying this whole time in terms of the window, which is that, these weren't really difference makers to begin with that we are looking at, and they were the third or fourth choice already. So, yeah, I'm not like, I don't particularly rue these players that we missed out on. I mean, I think that some of them probably improve Wolves, on the margins in various ways, but like, they don't stand out to me as like, if we'd only gotten Gasson or if we only gotten Uche, like totally different season. And it looked like, it was like kind of Uche or Tolu. And, I think I'd rather have Tolu, but there's really not much in it at this point in terms of, numbers.
I think right now it's a really tough one to judge, because on the face of it, you wouldn't think that there's any Mendes involvement directly right now. Matt Jackson in his new role, or whatever label they're putting on that now, does that give a hint of a more domestic feel to recruitment and experienced players, or those that might be in the Championship or had that type of upbringing? Because to me, it's like, would Edwards be coming in if he didn't have that much of a say on things like that? He could be a complete a mercenary and just be coming for the money. If he gets fired after 6 months, he can go and bugger off and reconstruct his career in the Championship again, and probably do all right over the next few years. Who knows? But has he come in for a specific reason? Hate to say the word project, but is the project either starting now in the hopes that he can have a nucleus of a side that he can take down and try and bring back up? And based on that, who are going to be those types of players that are identified? It could be a complete departure than certainly the section that that Brian mentioned that we're after in the summer, and could be some players that are more domestic, more experienced, that they're looking to build a side around.
Mm-hmm. I think it depends on what their aim of this next transfer window is. Is it bring in players to help keep us up, or is it ship some players out, bring some in to better set us up for a year in the Championship? I think if it's a year in the Championship, I would hope they would trust Rob Edwards and his team to say, hey, I know these are quality players that are playing the Championship. It may not look like it right now, but they're bring them in and I can do a number with them. We'll be pushing for promotion, or at least be a more stable side after we go down.
Yeah.
And finally, from what came in, we got New England Wolves on X asking if this has been an easier stretch of games, what does a hard one look like? And will it in fact be a nuclear winter? Todd, you're talking winter already. So how new is it going to be? Minnesota winter
I
for the
hope not.
Wolves?
Minnesota winters aren't for the weak, and I hope that I don't even know if this was an easy run.
Like Villa and Palace are good sides, you know.
They are a good side. I mean, was it Villa? This is their 7th home win out of 8 or something like that. These weren't easy. These were winnable games, but not easy games. I don't know. I think we all might just have to take a couple of shots from Lord, kind of black out for a few months. Hope that when we wake up, everything's on the up and up. We're out of the bottom 3.
Some real Minnesota advice there.
You know, just drink heavy. Everything will be better in the morning.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Todd that, you know, we're in for it, especially in December. But I think, you know, Paul's right. The 2 games that Rob Edwards has really had have not been gimmies by any stretch. Both good teams, and especially in the case of Palace, a team that always has our number regardless of you know how good they are or we are. Villa, I suppose, a bit the opposite, but you know, like Todd said, they've been on a tear, especially at home. Very like I haven't watched them a ton, but they've been sneaking a lot of things based on the score lines and the XG. But still, you know, like not games that I ever would have thought we were going to win, even if we were having a better season. So I think there is cause for, can't say optimism. Optimism is not the right word to use. There is cause for some slightly more positive thinking when it comes to games against Forest and even Man United, that these teams are not infallible. Hell, I watched Man United play, who was it? It wasn't Grimsby. Whatever the lower league opposition they did just before that international break in like literally a torrential downpour. You know, they have had terrible games this season, and you know, maybe we get lucky and we're the shit team that they lose to.
So that is no stupid questions for this week. Thanks for those contributions. Please continue to do so. Again, you can email them to hello@wholelotofwolves.com or on our socials on X or Facebook.
Well, as we prepare for life in the championship, it is your Paramount Plus Watch of the Week. And I had to pick this movie with one of our favorite Ninja Turtle pals. Todd is here so he can see if I have a correct take on this. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Got my little bobblehead pen.
Yeah, I got the Donatello. So my Paramount Plus Watch of the Week this week is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, the Michael Bay sequel in 2016. Not very well liked. However, I would argue that is the most loyal to the beloved cartoon show in the 90s, because we had Bebop, we had Rocksteady, we had Krang, and of course then Casey Jones came. I know it gets a bad rap, mostly because of Michael Bay and his ludicrousness, but that's one of my favorite Ninja Turtle movies, Todd.
I just need a moment to process all the things you said. That's one of your favorite Ninja Turtle movies?
Yes,
You're
because
insane.
I felt like it was very loyal to the cartoon.
I guess, man. If you like big flashy things that go boom, and yeah, I guess in that sense, very much according to the cartoon, but not a good movie. Go watch the 90s Ninja Turtles. Go watch that animated one before any of the Michael Bay movies. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Now the original one is good. I was just, for the original one, the second one, Secret of the Ooze, I was very disappointed they didn't have Bebop and Rocksteady. Instead, they had the 2 other ones in there. This one had Bebop and Rocksteady, and they were done well.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm a 1990 Ninja Turtles man myself. Did you know that the guy who directed that movie directed mostly music videos, including Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, Electric Avenue,
Hell yeah.
Africa by Toto and Take on Me by Aha.
He has a vision.
Yeah, sure does.
Oh man.
So you what's your favorite Ninja Turtle movie then, Todd? Because all of them are on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go watch all of them except for the Michael Bay movies. Man, that was bad. Sorry, Josh. They did that animated one very recently. I don't know.
Very overrated.
It was way better than the Michael Bay ones.
No, overrated. Bebop and Rocksteady turned into good guys. Come on, man.
Yeah, everyone has a redemption arc. That's all I'm saying. So
they were like
if
next 32.
I mean, everyone has a redemption arc. If Matthias Cunha wants to come back when we play them, stand at the halfway line and declare his love for Wolves, take a massive pay cut, I will welcome him back with open arms. Everyone has a redemption arc.
And that is your Paramount Plus watch of the week. How can people get a hold of you, Todd, since you are not on Twitter?
I'm not really on Twitter. Minnesota Wolves is. You can go into any of your social media apps of your choosing, whether it's Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and just type in like MNWWFC. You'll probably bring you to one of our pages. DM me, get a hold of the guys at Whole Lot of Wolves. They'll reach out to me, or just show up to Blackheart of St. Paul every match day. One of us is there, whether that's Wednesday or a Saturday or Sunday, whether it's at 6:30 or 2 p.m. We'll be there.
I just want to go because the name sounds so cool. Blackheart, St. Paul. It's got a really good ring to it.
Every time I put the location in on Facebook to say, hey, everyone, we're meeting there, like it ever changes, your name is the first one that it wants me to tag. I try so hard not to do it. One of these days it'll slip.
Yeah, I might just show up. Maybe not when it's 5 degrees, but
yeah, wait till like April.
When it's what, 40?
Yeah. Shorts and t-shirt weather, man. We'll go swimming.
Ooh.
Actually, come out February. We have the National Pond Hockey Championships. You'll freeze your butt off, but you'll have a great time doing it.
Any time with Todd is a great time.
Yes, we can attest to that. So thanks, Todd, for joining us. Thanks to Danny on the socials, Alex doing our producing, you, our audience, listening or watching. You'd be doing us a huge favor, helping to grow the whole Lotta Wolves pack by giving us a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform of choice, or if you're here on YouTube, liking, commenting, sharing our content. Everything that you can do helps massively. We'll be back next Monday. It's going to be a match night reaction show following that Man United game. So if you remember back to the predictions, we go into this week having had Black Friday, Cyber Monday, tomorrow's Giving Tuesday. Well, guess what? Here comes a win on Wednesday. Up the mighty Wolves.